before the day gathers momentum, before your attention is divided by responsibilities, conversations, and expectations. Pause for a moment and consider something quietly honest. Not everything that looks peaceful is truly at rest. Sometimes calm is simply well-managed tension. From the outside, a life may appear stable. Responsibilities are handled, schedules are maintained, conversations sound polite. Work continues, smiles appear when necessary. Everything seems composed, but internally, something different can exist. A quiet restlessness, a feeling that something unresolved is moving beneath the surface, thoughts that never fully settle, questions that appear when the room becomes quiet. This is not weakness, it is awareness trying to rise. Many people learn to maintain an external calm, that they forget to investigate what is happening internally. They keep functioning, keep producing, keep responding, until the quiet signals inside grow louder. Inner unrest rarely begins as chaos. It begins subtly, a slight tension in the chest when thinking about certain responsibilities, a hesitation before conversations that used to feel simple, a feeling of distance from the version of yourself you once felt connected to. These are not dramatic crises. They are quiet invitations. And this morning is not about forcing everything into instant clarity. It is about allowing yourself to notice what exists beneath the surface of your calm. Because ignoring inner unrest does not dissolve it. It simply delays the moment when it must finally be faced. Many people spend enormous effort maintaining stability externally. They manage work. They fulfill obligations. They support others. They continue moving forward even when energy feels thin. And in many ways, that persistence is admirable. But stability without reflection eventually becomes automatic living. You begin to move through routines without asking deeper questions. Are my priorities still aligned with what matters to me? Am I responding to life intentionally, or simply reacting to everything that appears? Is my calm genuine, or carefully maintained? Self-awareness requires courage because it interrupts the comfortable illusion that everything is fine. But reflection is not designed to create problems. It is designed to reveal truth before problems grow larger. Ignoring internal tension may allow short-term comfort, but long-term clarity requires curiosity about your own inner landscape. Ask yourself honestly this morning, where do I feel subtle unease lately? What thoughts do I keep postponing? What emotions do I avoid examining? Awareness is not confrontation. It is observation. You are not attacking yourself by asking these questions. You are listening to parts of your life that may have been quietly waiting to be acknowledged. Sometimes calm is real peace. Sometimes calm is simply silence over unresolved thoughts. The only way to know the difference is to look inward without rushing away. Inner unrest often grows from thoughts that remain unspoken. Even to yourself, there are concerns you dismiss quickly because they seem inconvenient. There are doubts you minimize because confronting them might require change. There are questions about direction, relationships, identity, or purpose that feel easier to postpone. But thoughts that are postponed rarely disappear. They simply move into the background, where they quietly shape how you feel. A small unresolved concern can slowly become persistent tension. A postponed decision can create lingering uncertainty. A quiet emotional wound can influence how you interpret everyday interactions. None of this happens dramatically. It happens gradually, which is why so many people maintain the appearance of calm while feeling internally unsettled. Their life continues moving forward, but something inside remains unaddressed. This is not failure, it is human. The important question is not whether inner tension exists. The question is whether you allow yourself to acknowledge it with honesty. You do not need immediate solutions. You need permission to notice. When you allow yourself to recognize the thoughts beneath your calm, something important happens. You regain authority over your inner world. You move from silent avoidance to conscious awareness. And awareness is the first step toward genuine peace. There is a reason inner unrest refuses to remain hidden forever. Your mind and spirit are designed to seek alignment. When something inside feels misaligned, whether emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, signals begin to appear. Fatigue that sleep does not fully resolve. Irritation during moments that once felt manageable. Difficulty concentrating. A sense of distance from your usual motivation. These are not random disruptions. They are indicators that something within you requires attention. Many people misinterpret these signals as weakness or burnout, but often they are simply reminders that internal conversations have been postponed too long. Imagine carrying a small stone in your pocket every day. At first, it is barely noticeable, But over time, the constant weight becomes uncomfortable, not because the stone has grown larger, but because its presence has been ignored repeatedly. Inner unrest works in the same way. It begins small, a thought, a concern, a question about direction. Ignored repeatedly, it becomes heavier. But the solution is not panic, it is acknowledgement. The moment you stop pretending everything is perfectly settled, you create space for clarity. Peace does not require pretending there is no tension. Peace begins when tension is recognized and explored with patience.
There is a powerful difference between managed calm and authentic peace.
Managed calm depends on control. Schedules must remain predictable. Circumstances must cooperate. Feedback must remain positive. When any of those conditions change, calm quickly disappears. Authentic peace is different. It does not depend on perfect circumstances. It comes from internal alignment. When your thoughts, values, and direction are examined honestly, your calm becomes rooted, not fragile. Rooted people still encounter stress. They still experience uncertainty, but their calm does not collapse under pressure because it is grounded in clarity. This is what many people are truly seeking. Not endless quiet, but internal steadiness. And steadiness grows from the willingness to explore what lies beneath your surface. This morning is not asking you to solve everything immediately. It is asking you to notice honestly, because awareness is where alignment begins. One of the easiest ways to ignore inner unrest is to stay busy. Not destructive busy, not chaotic busy, just consistently occupied. Schedules fill up, tasks multiply, responsibilities increase. From the outside, this looks admirable. It looks productive, and sometimes it truly is. But productivity can quietly become something else. It can become a shield against reflection. When your attention is constantly directed outward, toward work, obligations, messages, notifications, expectations, you rarely pause long enough to hear what is happening internally. Activity creates noise, and noise can drown out quiet signals. The moment things slow down, the thoughts return, questions about direction, lingering emotional tension, unresolved conversations. So the natural response becomes simple. Stay busy, add another task, take on another responsibility, fill the schedule again. This is not laziness. It is avoidance disguised as discipline. Many highly responsible people are experts at this. They accomplish everything required of them, but they rarely sit long enough with themselves to ask deeper questions. And so the calm continues on the surface, while quiet unrest grows underneath. There is a particular type of fatigue that comes from constantly holding things together. You manage expectations. You maintain composure. You continue showing up even when energy feels thin. And because nothing appears to collapse, people assume you are completely fine. But stability maintained without internal rest eventually becomes emotional strain. You start noticing small signals. Your patience shortens slightly. Your motivation fluctuates unexpectedly. Conversations feel heavier than they once did. Not because your life is failing, but because your inner world has been carrying more than it has processed. Many people misunderstand this stage. They assume they are simply tired, so they try to solve it with external adjustments. More sleep, a short break, a distraction. Sometimes those help temporarily. But if the deep attention remains unacknowledged, the unrest quietly returns. True rest is not only physical. It is mental and spiritual release. And release cannot happen while everything remains unspoken inside you. This is why calm routines sometimes feel strangely heavy. The routine continues, but something within is asking for attention. It arrives in signals, not loud warnings, subtle shifts. You may notice it in your thoughts. The same question returning repeatedly, a quiet dissatisfaction you cannot fully explain. You may notice it in your emotions, moments of discouragement that feel disproportionate to the situation, a sense that something important is missing. Or you may notice it in your spirit, a quiet feeling that you have drifted slightly away from the center of who you truly are. None of these signals are accusations. They are invitations. Your inner world is simply asking for attention. But many people respond to these signals with resistance. Your spirit does not demand perfection. It asks for honesty. The moment you stop insisting that everything must remain calm on the surface, you create space for something deeper. Clarity. Honesty with yourself is one of the most demanding forms of courage, because it removes the protective distance between appearance and reality. It asks questions that cannot be answered casually. Am I truly aligned with the direction I'm moving? Am I maintaining relationships that quietly drain me? Am I ignoring something important about who I am becoming? These questions do not always have quick answers, but ignoring them does not make them disappear. It simply postpones growth. Many people avoid these moments because they fear disruption. They worry that examining their inner unrest might force difficult changes. But clarity does not always demand dramatic action. Sometimes it simply requires awareness, a shift in perspective, a conversation you have been postponing, a decision to protect your time or energy differently. The purpose of reflection is not chaos. It is alignment. There are moments in life when your spirit becomes aware of something. Before your mind fully understands it, externally everything appears stable. Your routines continue. Responsibilities are handled. You fulfill expectations, yet internally, something feels slightly misaligned. It is difficult to describe. Nothing dramatic has happened. No major crisis, no visible collapse, but a quiet tension lingers beneath the surface. This is often the moment when your spirit is recognizing something important, long before logic catches up. Your spirit notices when your life begins drifting away from your deeper values. It notices when your energy is invested in things that no longer reflect who you are becoming. It notices when you are moving forward, but not necessarily moving in the right direction. Your mind may rationalize these situations. It's just a phase. Everyone feels like this sometimes. Things will settle eventually. Sometimes those explanations are true, but sometimes they delay a more honest realization. Your spirit does not create unrest to punish you. It creates unrest to wake you up gently. One of the most powerful disruptors of inner peace is comparison. Not the obvious kind, not the loud jealousy people easily recognize. The subtle comparison that quietly rewrites your internal narrative. It happens when you observe someone else's progress and begin questioning your own. Someone advances faster. Someone appears more confident. Someone seems to have clarity that you feel you lack. At first, the comparison seems harmless. You tell yourself it is simply observation. But over time, something changes. Your focus shifts away from your own path. You begin measuring your life using someone else's timeline. And the moment that happens, calm begins to fracture. Because comparison creates false urgency. It convinces you that you are behind, that your progress is insufficient, that your current stage is somehow wrong. But every meaningful life unfolds at a different pace. Growth is not synchronized. Your development is not meant to mirror someone else's journey. When comparison dominates your thinking, it creates pressure where patience was required. And pressure distorts perspective. The truth becomes difficult to see. Another reason hidden unrest develops is subtle disconnection from purpose. Not dramatic abandonment, just gradual drifting. You begin doing what is expected, what is practical, what is efficient, but somewhere along the way, the deeper meaning behind your efforts becomes less visible. Your work becomes mechanical, your routines become automatic, your days pass quickly, but without the sense of direction that once energized you. This is not failure, it is a signal. Your spirit was designed to move with intention. When your actions and your deeper purpose begin separating, a quiet tension forms. Even if everything else appears stable, this is why some people accomplish impressive things, yet still feel unsettled. The achievements exist, but the alignment is missing. Purpose does not require dramatic career changes or radical decisions. Sometimes it simply requires remembering why you began, reconnecting with the values that once motivated you, reclaiming the direction that once made your efforts feel meaningful. When purpose returns, calm deepens, not because life becomes easier, but because your energy begins moving in the right direction again. Most people respond to inner unrest by escaping it. They distract themselves. They postpone reflection. They convince themselves it will pass naturally. But unrest rarely resolves through avoidance. It resolves through attention, listening to yourself honestly, not critically, not harshly, just truthfully. Ask yourself simple questions. What have I been ignoring internally? Where do I feel subtle dissatisfaction? What part of my life feels slightly out of alignment? You do not need perfect answers immediately. You simply need willingness to look. Clarity does not appear instantly. It emerges gradually when you create space for it. This is why quiet moments are valuable, why reflection matters, why stillness can be transformative. When you stop running from inner signals, those signals become guides, not threats, not burdens. And slowly, calm begins to move from the surface. into the core of your life. Many people search for peace the wrong way. They wait to feel calm first, and then they hope their decisions will follow. But real peace rarely begins as a feeling. It begins as a decision. A decision to slow down your reactions. A decision to examine your thoughts more carefully. A decision to stop feeding mental patterns that quietly destabilize your inner world. Peace grows from discipline long before it becomes emotional comfort. Think about it carefully. A person who constantly absorbs negativity will rarely feel calm. A person who constantly compares their life will rarely feel content. A person who ignores their internal signals will rarely feel aligned. Peace requires participation. It asks you to become more intentional with your attention. Where your focus goes, your emotional energy follows. This means that protecting your peace is not passive. It is an active process. You must become selective about what you allow to influence your mind. What voices shape your perspective? What conversations dominate your day? What thoughts do you repeat internally without questioning them? Every one of those influences either stabilizes you or quietly disturbs you. And the moment you begin filtering those influences, calm begins to deepen. One reason hidden chaos grows is because the modern world rewards speed. Fast opinions, fast reactions, fast judgments. Everything moves quickly. And when your external environment moves quickly, your mind begins moving quickly too. Thoughts stack on top of each other. Concerns overlap. Small frustrations multiply. Soon your mind becomes crowded, not with major problems, but with constant micro-tensions. This is where intentional slowing becomes powerful. You are not required to respond immediately to every thought. You are not required to solve every concern instantly. You are not required to react to every emotional wave. Sometimes the most stabilizing decision you can make is simple. Pause, observe the thought, and then decide whether it deserves your energy. Most thoughts do not. Many are temporary emotional echoes, moments of insecurity, moments of fatigue, moments of impatience. If you treat every passing thought as truth, chaos grows quickly. But when you observe thoughts without immediately believing them, clarity begins to emerge. Your mind becomes quieter, your reactions become steadier, and calm begins to move deeper than the surface. Hidden unrest often grows when you stop trusting your own internal guidance. You second-guess your instincts. You override your intuition. You convince yourself that everyone else must know something you do not. Over time, this creates internal fragmentation. Your spirit signals one direction. Your mind pushes another. And the tension between those two forces creates confusion. Restoring peace requires rebuilding trust with yourself. Start by acknowledging something important. Your intuition is not random. It develops from experience, observation, and internal awareness. It notices patterns before logic explains them. It senses misalignment before consequences appear. When you ignore it repeatedly, unrest increases. When you listen carefully, alignment begins returning. Listening does not mean reacting impulsively. It means respecting your inner signals enough to examine them honestly. Why does this situation feel uncomfortable? Why does this decision feel forced? Why does this path feel strangely empty, even though it looks successful? Those questions are not weaknesses. They are signs of internal intelligence. Your spirit is trying to guide you back toward alignment. Surface calm disappears easily. One criticism can disrupt it. One stressful conversation can fracture it. One unexpected challenge can dissolve it. But calm that is built internally behaves differently. It is not dependent on perfect circumstances. It remains steady even when situations become unpredictable. This kind of calm comes from three internal foundations: clarity, boundaries, spiritual grounding. Clarity reminds you who you are and what matters most. Boundaries protect your energy from unnecessary disruption. Spiritual grounding reminds you that your life is not random. It is guided by deeper purpose. When these foundations strengthen, something remarkable happens. External chaos loses its power to destabilize you. You still feel emotions. You still respond to challenges. But you no longer collapse under every wave. Your peace becomes rooted instead of fragile. And when peace becomes rooted, the surface of your life begins reflecting that stability. Your decisions become clearer. Your reactions become wiser. Your presence becomes calmer. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Heavenly Father, before this day continues any further, I come before you with honesty and openness. You see the parts of my life that others never notice. You see the thoughts that pass quietly through my mind. You see the emotions that sometimes remain unspoken, even when everything around me looks calm. You understand the deeper movement within my spirit. Today, I refuse to ignore what you are revealing. I bring my inner world before you. Every concern, every quiet pressure, every moment where my thoughts have become crowded or unsettled. I ask you to bring true stillness into the center of my life, not temporary distraction, not surface-level comfort, but real peace that settles my thoughts and steadies my heart. Quiet the noise that does not belong in my mind. Slow the anxious patterns that try to rush my decisions. Help me recognize what truly deserves my attention and what needs to be released. Let your presence become the calm foundation beneath everything I face today. Father, there are burdens that I have carried quietly. Some of them come from responsibility. Some come from expectations placed on me by others. Some come from pressures that I placed on myself. Over time, those burdens can become invisible weights. They influence my mood. They influence my reactions. They influence the way I see my own progress. Today, I place those burdens into your hands. I release the pressure to control everything. I release the belief that I must carry every outcome alone. I release the fear that something will fall apart if I slow down and trust you more deeply. You did not create me to live in constant internal tension. You created me for clarity. You created me for purpose. You created me for steady progress guided by wisdom. Teach me to carry only what truly belongs to me, and give me the courage to release what does not. Lord, when life becomes busy, it is easy for my mind and my spirit to drift apart. My thoughts begin racing ahead while my spirit quietly asks me to slow down. My decisions become rushed while my intuition asks for reflection. Today I ask you to restore alignment within me. Bring my thoughts back into harmony with the direction you are guiding. Help me listen more carefully to the quiet wisdom you place inside my heart. Strengthen my ability to pause before reacting. Strengthen my ability to reflect before deciding. Let my inner world become organized and centered again. Where confusion once existed, bring clarity. Where emotional noise once dominated, bring calm understanding. Where doubt once whispered loudly, replace it with steady confidence. Guide my thinking. Guide my perception. Guide the internal conversations that shape my choices. Let my spirit lead with wisdom. Father, as this day unfolds, I know I will encounter many voices, opinions, expectations, situations that require quick decisions. But I ask you to help me move through them with calm strength. Guard my mind from unnecessary negativity. Guard my heart from absorbing emotions that do not belong to me. Guard my spirit from being pulled into distractions that weaken my focus. Give me discernment. Help me recognize what deserves my attention and what should simply pass by. Let my peace remain rooted even when the environment around me becomes unpredictable. Allow my presence to carry calm rather than tension. Let the stability you are building inside me influence the way I speak, the way I think, and the way I respond to challenges. Today I choose not to react from chaos. I choose to move with clarity. Lord, I declare that the hidden unrest within me is not permanent. Where there has been quiet tension, renewal begins today. Where my thoughts have been scattered, focus is returning. Where my emotions have felt unsettled, stability is growing. You are restoring my inner foundation. You are strengthening my discernment. You are guiding me toward a deeper sense of alignment. I do not need to pretend everything is perfect. I simply need to remain open to the work you are doing within me. Step by step, my mind is becoming clearer. Step by step, my spirit is becoming steadier. Step by step, my life is aligning with the peace you designed for me. And as this peace grows inside me, it will begin influencing every part of my day. My conversations will carry patience. My decisions will carry wisdom. My presence will carry quiet strength. I receive this restoration with gratitude and faith. Amen. Before you move into the rest of your day, pause for one more moment. Not everything that looks calm is truly peaceful, but that realization is not a reason for discouragement. It is an invitation to listen more carefully to your inner world, an invitation to rebuild peace intentionally, an invitation to allow God to restore alignment within you. Real peace does not come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from honestly addressing what lies beneath the surface and trusting that healing can begin there. Carry that awareness with you today. The calm you are building internally will eventually shape the life you experience externally.